Well, this evening I want to give you an update on my fish room, my fish nook as I've called it before. I've made a few changes. We've added a new shelf or rack here in the kitchen, and that's where my tanks start. I have a trio of little rimless 2.5 gallons here. And various tubs of aquarium, fish keeping, shrimp keeping goods. Right here is a little quarantine tank I have there that I keep set up. And then you can see the rest of my tanks lined up down the wall there into the dining room and right there in the corner. This is my first 2.5 gallon here on the rack. This holds my trio of bumblebee gobies. There's a couple you can see right there. There's also, you can see a bunch of snails, and there's some Amano shrimp as well in here. Sorry for the reflection. It's planted and has deep substrate. Here's the second 2.5 gallon. Again, relatively deep substrate planted. This is my green jade Neocaridina shrimp, and lots of snails, and there's a couple of chili rasboras that live in here and take care of any pests. Let's see, some botanicals and a variety of plants. There's Boos and Anubias and Bolbitis, Seswassertang, or Seswassertang, lotus pod, some cholla wood, some little elder cones. I've got some water lettuce floating and a couple of frog bit. And then also we have up here some pennywort, I think. I have to remember what that one is. These green jades I won over a year ago, I think, from Alexander Williamson, Fishery, The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium, with Aquatic Arts. They gave away a green jade breeder kit. The tank wasn't included, but most everything else I needed was. And they've been going strong ever since. I've removed some of these green jades and started a secondary group in another tank. The third of my 2.5 gallon trio here on this rack is here. Again, deep substrate planted. Bolbitis, Dorsedge. I've got dwarf chainsword in there. A couple of other plants. Some stems in the back there. This is my, oh, you see them there. My betta Oh, he's gonna check out that snail that just fell. Anyway, he's a handsome boy. Let's see if we can get him to show himself here. There you are, pretty boy. And he's pretty aggressive, so he lives alone in this 2.5 gallon. And he's got one eye, but he seems to manage just fine. See there? He's missing that eye. He's got a good eye on the other side, but he's good. Next, I have a little shelf that's holding some art plants, some knickknacks, rocks, driftwood that's waiting for another skate, and a terrarium project I have. It's kind of a mess, just waiting down there. And then here I have a paludarium project that's gathering. I'm gathering my goods together. Eventually I'm gonna do this one. It's a Reptizoo 10 gallon. And as we move down the row here, I have some more of my knickknacks, and this is one of my 6 gallon water bottles. First 2.5 gallons were no filter. Here I hose this to a sponge filter. This is my Danio tank. Or Rasboris. These have been called both. This has a mix. I have 3 emeralds and 3 CPDs in here. I know many people will not appreciate that I have mixed them, and up until now I have kept them separate. When I have kept these, I continually have kept the emeralds because they're one of my favorites. CPDs I used to keep. I kept them in the other 6 gallon water box for a long time, but I just want to see how they do together. So that's what I'm doing in this tank. You'll see that I like a little whimsy in my nature style tanks, and several of my tanks have homages to some of my favorite movies, and you see the one here from Jaws. Dwarf Sage, some Bobitus, got some guppy grass, a couple of little swords that are struggling, deep substrate. This tank has been set up for more than 3 years. Moving along, this is a 4 gallon cube. I believe this is one of my UNS brand tanks. This is my ditch in a cube, or puddle in a cube. Deep substrate. Again, it's been going at least 3 years. This has a group of least killies, some Amano shrimp, lots of snails. You can tell I need to scrape the glass in this one. I didn't pretty everything up. This is just the tanks how they are this evening. I have some boosts in here, some Bacopa. I've got some what they call lucky bamboo, Dracaena growing out of the back there. There's a big clump of Sesquacertang at the back, and that's where the little tiny killies hide until they get bigger. Just like a jumble where you would have just seen in a ditch stones, pieces of wood, pebbles, just everything kind of in a jumble. But it works for me. I've got a Ziggy down here. He's a least killie with a unique disposition, a disability, if you will, but that doesn't, or her, I guess, that doesn't keep her down. She's eating and growing right along with the rest of them. Again, that's my 4-gallon cube. Next down the line is my second, this is a 6-gallon water box. Again, this one's been up a few years. This holds my ruby tetras. I've got a small group of those, and also some Neocaridina shrimp. These were black rose neos in here. And there's one you can see there. Ram's horn snails. And the ruby tetras. There's a group of, I believe I've got 8 of them in here. We've got Dorfsage, Bacopa, swords, some guppy grass. There's some Bulbitis in there, Anubias, Boos. We've got a mix of everything, and you'll see, yes, I need to do some maintenance. There's some algae in there. I don't keep a super clean tank. I leave most of that mulm, and again, a sponge filter. Look back over the row. Danios are having a good time tonight. This has a piece of ghost wood in it that I just love. And some of my favorite stone to scape with. I buy it from Pet World Lawrence online, and they call it whole stone. And it has holes through it, and I just really like it. So the next tank is another UNS tank. This one's a 5.5 gallon tall portrait style tank. Has some Mopani wood with Bulbitis growing on it. Some Anubias in the background. The floaters in here are frog bit. And they grow really well in here. I have to clean it out every weekend, or the top will be completely full, covered. Let's see if it's going to, there we go. I have to get in closer to get it to focus. You can see back there an homage to another of my favorite movies, the Stargate, also a great series. In here, you'll see if they've gotten shy all of a sudden with the camera. It's a group of small green neons. I love the green neons. They're one of my favorites. And it's hiding right now. I don't know if we'll really be able to see it, but there's also a tiger batis that lives in here. There we go, back in focus. So this one has a shallower substrate, but it does slope up in the back. I've got a rock pile back there. There's an Amano shrimp in here that let loose of its larva a few weeks back. When I first got these green neons and gave them a great live food feast. It was really cool. I don't know if you can see there, you can see behind the Stargate a couple of those green neons. They're usually out and about. I guess I've spooked them with the camera. I'm getting close to the end. There's my corner there. So next up, we have a 5.5 gallon. And let's see, I've got a glare here, but let's see if I can. So these are little rainbow, Luminatus rainbow. I believe that's what they're called. I'll have to look it up, and if that's wrong, I'll put the correct name up on the screen. Beautiful little fish. I've got a group of 5. This does not have deep substrate. This used to be my quarantine and my plant holding tank. I just really fell in love with these little rainbows and wanted them to have their own space. There are snails in here, and there are blue Neocaridina shrimp. I think you can see one right there on that cholla wood, but they're really a beautiful blue color. I think there are I think there is an Amano shrimp in here, at least one, maybe 2. So kind of a mix in here, but the stars are these little rainbows. And I'll get out there. I don't know if they'll get in the light for me where I can really get a good image. Let's see. And down here on this lower shelf, this is no filter. This is a 3-gallon or 3.5-gallon jar. This is a clump of Bolbitis, driftwood. Stuck into those pebbles and a bit of a sand, coarse sand substrate, and some botanicals and shells and some little frog bait in there. This is green jade shrimp. I don't see any right now. They are up in the plant, I'm sure. blending in. Maybe one will come out. There I have a little bonsai tree trunk with a Sesquiterton growing as the leaves. It's a project. There's some driftwood I have there waiting for escape. And then this is a little 2-gallon hexagon. I've had it a long time. Right now it is just so full of Sesquiterton. I need to get in there and do a major maintenance session and get rid of all that duckweed in the top there. So that is what's on that shelf. And then I'm going to turn back this way to cover the last of the tanks here. This is my largest tank. It is a 20-gallon high. It's a community tank. Deep substrate. I have turn this light back on. As you can see, I need to do a maintenance session on it. I need to get in there and get rid of some algae, but I have, let's see, Cryptparva here. I have Anubias. I have swords. I have dwarf sage, some guppy grass. There's Cridum back in there. I don't know how well it's doing, but it's back there. Sesquiterton on the tree. This is a ghostwood. Again, as a nod to one of my favorite movies. Another one of my favorite movies. There's the gates to Jurassic Park. This gate was meant to be a kind of an ancient forest, some sort of maybe on a tropical island, a wild place. And I didn't want to forget a little group of pencilfish. Really love them. They're just really another one of my favorites. And I've got a little group of 6 of those. And they're really fun to watch. This has my older group of green neons. They're rather large, getting old. I've got a random dwarf rainbow there that was left from a group that I kept for a few years, and that's the only straggler left. I've got some platies in here, some random platies. There's a coral blue there, there's a neon blue, and then there's a blue calico. She's hiding in there somewhere. That neon blue is quite aggressive and kind of is the tank bully. There are yellow and orange Neocaridina shrimp in here. They usually are hiding in the Sesquiterton or in the plants. Trying to see if I can see any. There is one of the Neocaridina yellow shrimp. There are a small group of yellows and some orange neos in this tank. I have a sponge filter on one side and then a corner box filter. And the floating plant in this one is Salvinia. If you can see that or not. There's a snail pile up there because I had dropped some sinking food in. I need to scrape that front glass. Alright, and then down on the bottom shelf here, you can see a little trio here. I've got a couple of 2.5 gallon tanks and then a planted vase there in the middle. It's an acrylic cylinder vase that has a deep substrate, and it's a mix of sage and gubby grass, and well, there's some algae in there I need to take care of, but we've got snails. There are some shrimp in there, one or two. We've got some floating plants on the top, frog bit. To the left here, this little 2.5 gallon is my cherry shrimp breeding tank. Let's see if we can see any of them right now. There are snails in there as well, and there are 2 chili rasbora that live in here to take care of pests like hydra or anything like that. Oh, there goes one of the cherries. There's another one. Yeah, there's some. So those are some really deep red Neocaridina cherry shrimp in there. And this little 2.5 gallon over here used to be my scuddery. I kept scud in there to use as feeders, and I just loved them. The colony grew and then dwindled, and then I needed this tank for my one of my tiger batis. I had gotten a pair of tiger batis, and of course it turned out to be both males. So I had to move one of those males somewhere, and he got this tank. He picked off the remainder of the scuds. Let's see if we can find. Can we find him? Oh, I think he's right up here in the front here. Don't think it's not wanting to focus. Oh, there he is. You can see. Tiger batis. So it's a little, again, planted tank. It has substrate of gravel and mulch and coarse sand, just a mix. Some pebbles, some driftwood. That is an update on my fish room. From my 20 gallon all the way around my multiple nano tanks and everything. So I hope you enjoyed that update. You can see I've got my some of my plants there. So that's I'll see you in Arkansas, and that was an update on my fish room. See you next time.